Test, test, check 1, 2. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Does that sound all right? Ah, that's better. You can always tell something's missing when you get isolated results. Like AI that's only right for one of your systems. Get AI that can work across your data and applications. Learn more at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Mega is an improvised satire from the staff of a fictional megachurch.
We are here, Lord, we are here, and we're ready to podcast.
Hiya, I'm Hallie Levant, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every single week we're giving our mega church a tiny family feel. We love to introduce you to members of our church staff and people from our community, and I always find it to be a treat and a treasure. Today, we don't have a guest joining us because we're doing a special YouTube live stream with our Patreon friends who are giving us all the suggestions. I'm so happy to see you today. Joined per usual is my co-host, Gray Haas.
God is lit because he is the way. Hallie, how are you?
I would have said he's legit.
Oh, that's all. I like that. He is legit, low key.
Low key, totally legit.
Oh, it is impeccable, isn't it, Hallie, how legit and low key God is.
I've been hearing my kids use words that they're hiding the meaning from them of me. My daughters have been saying that's so husband of you. And I can't figure out what husband means.
Well, they say, oh, that's wife, that's husband. And I've encouraged them to use those words because honestly, Hallie, finding a husband or a wife from youth group is one of my top priorities. Number 1, bring someone to Christ. Number 2, set them up for a powerful, godly marriage. And a lot of times I've had, dozens and dozens of youth at this point meet in climax and eventually become married.
It's so cool when you get married young while, your skull isn't even really completely hardened yet. And you can be totally sold out for Christ. And you know what? You can grow up together in your marriage and discover who you are in Christ as you, figure out who you are.
Well, you don't even need to figure out who you are, do you, Hallie? If you've got Jesus, then you've pretty much got it all figured out. So I like that a lot of times teens will be like, well, what am I doing with my life? And I don't really know who I am yet. And I'm like, guess what? You don't even need to answer that once you've got Christ in your life. So don't worry about that stuff, that existential, what I often like to call BS. You know what I mean? And
you know what? God has a plan for your life. And that is not an anxiety-inducing thought at all. In fact, it's a very peaceful thought because you're you know what?
It's all part of the plan.
Yep. God has a plan. And so I just have to, live as if I am in love with him, and then everything will fall into place.
Totally on fire.
Yeah.
So what's up, Hallie? What questions do we have from our Patreon folks?
Yeah, we have some people who have written in questions to us, and these can be conversation starters and just a way for the Spirit to move. You know?
Great.
First, there's a question for you, Gray.
Oh, awesome.
Since Gray, it's directed towards me, Halle. Since Gray has cut off ties with his family in Australia.
Why are they asking a question about me to you?
Well, let's see. Since Gray has cut off ties with his family in Australia and lived in the U.S. for years, isn't it time he looked into becoming a U.S. citizen?
Why are they asking you this?
Maybe you can give him a sisterly nudge in that direction. I'd love to. Help him with the interview questions and whatnot. Wouldn't settling down with a nice, pure Christian American woman help him with that process? The answer to that is yes.
Yes, absolutely. But first off, I don't really need Halle's help in that department. I pretty much know everything there is to know about the questions that I would get on the citizenship test anyway. Right now, I'm under what is called an A1 HBC HPV visa, and that is basically where I provide a service that no one can possibly provide. There's no American that can do what I do. And so I was brought from Australia by Steve, and I was shown to absolutely have a skill of, obviously winning teens to Christ, in a way that, unfortunately, a lot of American youth pastors weren't able to do. So right now, I'm free and clear. I'm here on a 25-year visa, and I don't even have to renew it. It just, Steve's got some friends in government that have helped with that. So I haven't needed to take the citizenship test. I would maybe one day become an American citizen, probably when I get married to a beautiful woman, because I'm so excited to marry a sister in Christ. I mean, not my, you know what I mean. I'm looking for a wife. And right now, I'm a bit too busy to date. I have a lady friend, I would call her, in Tifa, but we're just really taking it slow. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, but my friend Clay Mason Bannerman and I, we've got these two awesome twins that we're just prayerfully considering as wives as we speak.
But aren't you currently on a break with old Tiffer and Mickey? Mickey and Tiff, are they the same or are they diff?
Well, they're diff, and I would say, Halle, that yes, we're on a break, but that's just because Clay and I needed time to really get on our knees, pray it out, and see where God was leading us. Back to your original thing, what's the plan? And I kept going, God, what's the plan? What is the plan? Show me the plan. And the plan right now is take a break. I heard God say very clearly, slow down.
Oh, did you audibly hear the voice of God?
Well, sometimes, Halle, when I hear God speak, it's kind of a feeling that I get where, you feel God say, slow down. But you don't really hear those words, but you just it's almost like when you're eating at a buffet or something and you hear, you get that feeling of like, slow down.
Oh, yeah. Or take a Pepsid.
Right. So right now we're just taking it slow, but I know everything I need to know about the citizenship test. I mean, you could ask me any question about all that and I would know it.
Oh, cool. Okay. How many branches of government do we have in the United States of America?
100.
Oh. Well, I mean, maybe if you're thinking about, all the different state legislatures and stuff, you know what? Actually, if there's a House and a Senate in all 50 states, you're not wrong. But I'm just the federal government. It's only 3. And the way you can remember that is how many people are in the Trinity.
I mean, Halle, it doesn't matter. I don't really need to. I'm not at that point right now where I even need to worry about this.
There's the legislative, there's the executive, and another one.
Well, you know what? All of those right now, I'm not really worried about that because I'm focused on bringing people to Jesus.
Oh, it's judicial. One of our branches are that the judges get to decide.
Well, we've won that one, didn't we? We got the judges that we needed.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistant's assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Is there anything else you want to know about so that you can pass the test and become a citizen? You know what? I hate to say it, but if you did marry Tiffer or another awesome American Christian girl, you would become a citizen that way because you get to be the citizenship of whoever you marry.
Yeah, that's very possible, and that's probably what I'll do.
Would you be proud to be an American? Do you think it's the coolest country in the world?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of an American. I'm more American than a lot of Americans anyway, Hallie. Just kind of like through what I look like, my beliefs.
I don't even think you have an accent anymore. I don't hear it.
Oh, really?
And maybe it's just the way I don't hear it now, in the same way that you don't see color. I don't hear an accent.
Yeah. Well, I'm also colorblind.
That's true. Red-green colorblind?
Actually, I'm blue-black colorblind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and everything else ends up looking brighter.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of blue-black, but people just were wanting to check in and hear what's on the agenda for Climax. I know Halloween is such a big time of year where...
I'm sure you know from, Day and your daughters, Hallie, that we are doing an awesome thing in Climax right now.
Awesome.
And that is a costume buyback program. Where all the teenagers who, a lot of times they'll say, yeah, I'll come to Harvest Party, but then we're going to go trick-or-treating. I said, not this year. First, what I did is we did a youth event where I said, everybody is going to bring your costume, make your costume. We're going to really celebrate these costumes. It was a little bit of a switcheroo. What we did is, one of your daughters was there, Hallie.
Oh, really? Which one?
The one who dressed up like Rosie the Riveter.
Oh, yeah.
And
second year in a row.
And who had a little lady friend be Barbie.
Oh, yeah, Brandy. She looks like Barbie. She doesn't even have to dress up like one. She's just a natural Barbie.
Yep. And so what we did is I said, bring your costume, put it on. We're going to do a little costume fashion show.
Awesome.
And we had the runway. And then when they got to the end of the runway, we played some music. We had a split. And on one side, you could walk down, get $100 cash if you took off your costume and threw it in the bin, where we eventually incinerated them. Or you could go on the left side, and that ended up just being sort of funnily, I made it a 3-hour Bible study. And so... basically, we did this costume buyback program, and it was a smash hit, Hallie. I've got no teens doing Halloween this year because they've all got $100 in their pocket. And, when they bought it back, they could eat all the candy they wanted.
It's like No Child Left Behind, but no teen at Halloween.
No teens at Halloween. So
awesome.
It was great. And except for your daughter, she ended up, I thought she did the costume buyback, but then afterwards she still looked like Rosie the Riveter, and I was like, you can get rid of that.
Like that now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's just how she's
her
dressing.
Style. It looks like she thinks she's an engineer on an old coal train.
Oh, I know, because she's kind of covered in smudge, and she's wearing coveralls.
She's got these pinstripe coveralls. She's got
she's got like a thin grime about her, doesn't she?
Yeah, she normally has one of those shields in front of her face while she's welding.
She had that, but it was turned around backwards.
Yeah, she wears that now just like it's some kind of ball cap or something.
Yep.
Oh, and she also, you should check out the guns she's got on her.
Oh,
she
I know.
lifts
Every
it
time
up.
she's always going, we can do it.
She's showing it to you, and she's got biceps, she's got triceps, she's got traps and lats, all that. I mean,
she was picking up Brandy and tossing her around like a rag doll.
I know. The two of them are always wrestling and tickling, and just kids nowadays are much more touchy-feely and comfortable with their bodies. We are not really making them as uncomfortable as they should be in their own bodies, because if they get comfortable and think their body is a nice place to be, they'll invite other people to that party.
Oh, I know. Well, that's been a problem in Climax for years.
Is that right?
You know, you just cannot take your eyes off them. And I've said, hands to yourself. And, sometimes, and they will obey that. They'll keep the hands to themselves, and then they'll put their mouths places they shouldn't go. Anyway, we've got to move on. It really does.
You know, I do want to say, though, about Halloween, I really think, a lot of Christians, some Christians act hysterical and dramatic and just see evil everywhere. And, it's not everywhere. Of course, Satan is real and he is roaming the earth.
Absolutely.
But not everything. And I've come around on trick-or-treating, and here's why.
Oh, really?
It's a wholesome thing for kids to get out into the neighborhood. Satan is in a lot of things, but I don't see him in trick-or-treating. It's a family affair. The kids are mostly dressing up as cute Spider-Mans and, all kinds of things like that. And who doesn't want some free candy? You can't deny a kid that. It's a kid's greatest joy. It's happening around them everywhere they look. We can't ask a kid not to do that. I mean, one of my daughters is telling me that sugar in any form is poison that you put in your body. The one who is now she's a ballerina.
Oh.
She's very femme.
Oh.
She wears pink toe shoes. She wears them as her style.
As a costume?
She'll wear a tutu and long pink tights just as when she goes to Claire Boutique at the mall. I mean, yeah, she's very femme. Which,
well, good.
Definitely.
I mean, you don't want, your other daughter that's like basically looks like she runs a trade union. I think you got to be careful.
She
with that.
does have her fingers always look dirty. Her fingertips, even when they're clean. And she's asking me to get this orange scrub that has a grit in it because she's got permanently stained fingers. Also, you should see my daughter's fingers. They look like alien fingers. They're the longest fingers. She can palm a basketball.
Really?
Yeah, she has. And they're all kind of the same length, and they're all like twice as long as normal people's fingers.
She does smell like that orange mechanic soap. And every time she's around, that's what I was saying. She's kind of covered with a film, and I was thinking,
I gotta
maybe
go to
you
Costco
need to keep some
get
Goo
that.
Gone in the shower or something for her.
Yeah. I have to go to Costco to get that big vat of it's got a turbo pump of this like orange grit, for like mechanic hands.
Right. Well, going back to trick-or-treating for a moment, Halle, I don't want to give in to the pressures of the secular holiday because I think it stinks. And what I would say, and this happened a few years ago where, I think, I can't remember who it was, but there were so many kids dressed up like demon, demonic sort of puppets and things like this that, I mean, I knew members of the community that were thinking, hey, we should go round these guys up. You know what I mean? Just to make sure they're not actually doing, satanic stuff on the night of Halloween. And so I'd encourage adults to say, if you see a bunch of teens running around looking like a bunch of little satanic puppets, find a pen, find a yard, kind of corral them in there and try to keep them, at least at bay until the night is over.
Are you going to have a lock-in on the actual 31st?
Yeah, like a lock up.
Lock them up.
Lock them up, lock them down.
And just give them candy, give them sugar, and let them bounce off the walls all night.
That's right.
Nice. Okay, next question. I did want to say that this reminds me, because I'm looking at the upcoming questions. I did just want to say that I hope all of you listening, I hope you routinely check your children's phones, like I do, to make sure that they're not, online in the porno and all that. So I routinely check their phones. And I found in my daughter's phone that she had an Eventbrite a purchase that she had made to join a free, but you do have to get a ticket, but it's free, a religious trauma support group.
What? What does that even mean?
It's hard for me to even put those words together verbally, because it's such an anomaly. It's such a vulgar, wicked idea, to even consider something like that. And so I'm thinking about going. I'm thinking about infiltrating and going and acting like I'm a, secular mom, who's just I don't know.
How would you even do that? What would your costume be to be a secular mom?
I know.
Because I think, what do they even do?
Well, I could have cleavage or something. A lot of women who have as much as I do up top in the front, they show it off and get free stuff from it.
They do?
Yes. They
get free stuff from where?
Oh, anywhere. If you have big cleavage out, or what one of my daughters calls a long line, a long line.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
If a woman has like a 6-inch line of,
what?
The line between the line between
what is even the line?
Hefting them up, and if you're sticking them out,
what?
There's a long line.
What?
And I've got a 10-inch line on here, and so I could probably get free oil changes. I could never have to carry my groceries out of Trader Joe ever again. I could have those Trader Joe guys jumping over the cheese stand to because I'll tell you what, people who work in grocery stores, and I don't know, I just want anyone listening to be careful, because people who work in grocery stores are turned on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Trader Joe's is just an absolute thirst trap. I hate it. It's a Sodom and Gomorrah of absolutely
I don't know
thirsty,
if it's the produce,
little,
the fresh food,
awful,
the access to
horned up
candy
23-year-olds who all went
work
to
in grocery stores,
liberal arts
horn
colleges,
dogs and horn bags,
and it just is. I don't go to Trader Joe's.
It's sick, and it grieves the heart of God.
But I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not really a Christian grocery
Whole
store
Foods
anyway.
is worse. They're even more turned on at Whole Foods.
Who wants to go to Whole Foods?
It's nothing but a bunch of guys in aprons pole vaulting around on their own erections at Whole Foods.
Hey, guess what? I don't need a white guy with dreads telling me that, asking me what I'm doing this weekend. Anyway, I don't understand. So you're basically saying if you are going to go to a secular event, you're going to dress like a secular mom with cleavage. That's the costume.
I'll bring the girls out.
Which daughters?
No, I might wear something a little tiny bit revealing.
I'm sorry.
Because if I even show 2 inches of this 10-inch line I've got,
10 inches,
they're gonna think. They're gonna think.
I don't know how we got
believe
on
that
this.
I'm secular.
Okay, I don't know how we got on this talking about religious trauma, which is totally made up anyway. But I don't want to. I don't want to hear any more about that. Hallie.
To get into a religious trauma group, do you say I'm interested in Wiccan stuff? I don't understand what the thing is that they think is so, scary. And speaking of which, Gray, I know the kids have been talking, and I heard you talking to Steve about this in the leadership meeting this week, but that there's a satanic group in town that's trying to lure kids in with the same tactics like that you would use for a climax event. But it's a satanic outreach program. They're meeting at the same time lately that Climax is meeting. They're offering super fun activities, and they're offering events that teach real actual life skills and critical thinking skills. It's called nadir or blue balls or something. It grieves the heart of God is what it is.
Do they meet in the forest preserve? Because that's where usually a lot of the Satanists go.
Well, my kids were telling me, I was saying the same thing. I'm like, if you go to a Satan meeting, they're going to probably have a fire there. They're going to be burning things. They might burn you. They might burn all your hair off. You want to show up Monday morning with just a singed scalp? Well, don't go to satanic meetings. But my kids were like, no, Mom, Satanism isn't even about worshiping Satan. Satanism is about loving yourself and believing in yourself and your own intrinsic goodness. And I was like,
what?
Well, guess who's the liar? Lucifer.
Yeah.
And guess what, Lucifer would tell you if he wanted to pull you out of Christendom? He would tell you to start loving yourself and that you're okay and that you're not a disgusting sack of sin stain that needs to be redeemed by, somebody dying. There's a lot there. I don't want to get into all that, but of course Satan would just be like, love yourself, because if you love yourself, then you don't need the redeeming, blood of Christ. You don't need to have someone hang on a cross and die and everything. Well, guess what? He already did.
Yeah.
So,
and I hate to bring this up because this all reminds me of something that happened this week, and I, don't like to bring my personal life into all this. What? Because I'm tight.
Thank you.
God bless. And I just want to remind everyone that my friend, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but Claymates and Bannerman and I are dealing with a bit of an issue because there is someone that loves Halloween, and his name is Donovan Geo.
Oh, it grieves the heart of God.
He has a new costume that he's been doing all week long.
I don't even want to know.
Hallie, it's mid-October, and he's already dressed up every single day. He's painted himself entirely red. He wears a little pair of horns. He plays a pan flute.
Oh my gosh.
He's cut his typically, he already has a goatee, and he's got that all waxed into a point, and he's still in his Y fronts, and he's walking around with a pan flute, and he's going, do you want to live this deliciously? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's dressed up like the devil. It looks like the devil. He's got horns, a pan flute, and he's hooves on his feet and Y fronts. He's dressed entirely in red powdered makeup.
Ew.
And I'm going, that is satanic. He says, I'm pan. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? And he's like, I'm playing a pan flute. And, I'm like, what is pan? I don't even know what a pan is. And he said, it's something from Greek mythology or something. It's just insidious, Hallie.
I'm saying,
you can't even be around popsicles with that.
And what's this new catchphrase when he's in the devil outfit?
Do you want to live deliciously?
Do you want to live deliciously?
Yeah,
Do you want to live deliciously?
It's not a catchphrase because you can't say it very...
No, you can't. The deliciously is not even a word.
Deliciously is an impossible word to say.
You can't live deliciously.
I know.
What is this, La Dolce Vita?
And then the weird thing is that, of course, this is all rubbing off on Popsicles, who wants to do his own thing. And, he wants to dress like what he calls a manitor.
A manitor?
Yeah.
A manitor.
Which is a horse on the top, or no, sort of like a goat on the top.
Man on top, horse in the back? A horse bottom, man top?
No, he wants a horse top, man bottom. Because he doesn't want to take off the Y fronts.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just all.
It grieves the heart. God is what it does.
I'm like, Clay, this is your problem.
Yep.
That's what I say.
Yep. I mean, you know what? I hate to say this, Gray, but Clay might need to move. You're looking for a new place. Hopefully, maybe what you could save him, if you find your new condo, then maybe he'll be able to come move in with you for a while, get him away from Donovan Geo while he looks for a new condo.
That's not going to happen, Hallie, because obviously right now I'm already having enough of a problem crashing at Clay's because there's one huge issue that I don't really want to get into, but that he just won't change.
What is it?
I hate to get into this, but he's got these fixtures in his guest bathroom that are unusable. They're so ugly. Do you know what brushed nickel is?
Well, sure.
I mean, it's disgusting. And I'm saying these look like they're from 2006 and on a bad home reno show.
Okay.
Clay's house was on a home reno show in 2006.
Is that right?
And it's just do you ever have a fixture where you go in and it just makes you sick to your stomach? That's how these are.
Mm-hmm.
You do have that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you can relate. I don't know how long I can stay there until he changes those out. And of course, if he was, ever staying with me, I would not let him speak into anything like this because he just has no taste.
Well, I'll tell you, as a married person, I can kind of speak into some of that stuff about, compromises as you go and all of that.
Yeah.
I think that you can change people. If you just focus on the thing about them that you want to change about them, you can, gently guide and coerce and direct someone in the, direction you want to lead them in. At SeaWorld, they call it give the dolphin a fish.
Okay.
And that dolphin will do that trick again.
Okay.
Well, that's all you got to do with
but don't
a
they torture the animals
or a partner
a bit?
or a friend. Well, I think that the animals like having easy food.
Oh.
So anyway, I think that the whole, my kids are always telling me, Mom, it's rude to try to change people. And I'm like, hey, that's the whole plan, is for me to change every day, to die to myself and to live for Christ. You know what I mean? So I think the best thing you can do is keep working on in your case, it's your best friend. But for me, it's my life partner, my husband, my spouse. The more you can, the Bible says iron sharpens iron.
Right.
So the more you can change them, and we know we can change people because that's the whole point of Twin Hills Community Church. That's the whole point of, going and making disciples of all nations, is we have to let people know that there is something fundamentally wrong with them and they need to change to be like us. And I think that that's okay to do in a marriage too, or a friendship in your case.
Yeah. And around something like a fixture, which is, it's in the word, right, Halle? Fixture. Somebody who is just gonna is basically fixed on something, he just won't change. And he put it in every room in the house. There's so much brushed nickel. It just drives me crazy.
For me, it's whenever there's a rug that's in a room and that's not on an angle.
Oh.
I like rugs to be on an angle.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I like everything to be straight.
See? So straight.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar. Zero patience for slow walkers. Those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night. Have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
McCrispy strips are now at McDonald's. I hope you're ready for the most dippable chicken in McDonald's history. Dip it in all the sauces. Dip it in that hot sauce in your bag. Dip it in your McFlurry. Your dip is your business. McCrispy strips at McDonald's.
Okay, let's move to another question. Gray, what are some Australian delicacies that you remember your mom bringing to a potluck as a child? And do you use the word potluck?
No, we used to say, we used to call it bring it along, or bring a plate, or bring a bowl,
bring a bowl,
bring a bucket.
Bring a bucket.
And we used to have all sorts of really fun, we just don't have a lot of the Australian delicacies here in the United States. I don't even know if you all would know what they were.
Like what?
Well, I mean, one of my favorites as a kid at a Bring a Bucket was a puff in a can.
A puff in a can?
Puff in a can. Did you ever have that?
Puff in a can?
You didn't have that?
Puff in a can?
Oh, what you would do is you would take a can, you would saw it in half, and you'd pour out half, and then you would put some, name a can of whatever.
Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, can of chicken soup. You'd cut the can in half.
In half, huh?
Dump out half.
Okay.
You do that with a bunch of cans.
Well, I got good knives right now, so I could cut a aluminum can right in half.
And then you would, just dump a bunch of whatever you would like to puff it up with. Cheese, puff pastry, whatever you want.
I've got so much puff stuff in my house right now. I got one of those big Costco 5 gallons of cheese puffs.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect.
Almost exclusively use them as dog treats, but I eat them too, and I like that because I can pop some in my mouth and then pop some to my Frenchies and my Corgis.
So puff in a can, you would just bake a whole tray of those, and then everybody gets a little puff can that you walk around with at the Bring a Bucket.
That is so cool. I really got to go to Australia someday, man. It seems really cool there. They wanted you to talk about pavlova, maybe with no sugar, just beaten egg whites. Is that how you do it? Like, what would you do to make things be keto and paleo, Gray? Because I know, you don't really do the carbs and the sugar, do you?
Well, not anymore. I mean, when I was a kid,
I only do carbs and sugar.
When I was a kid, I surprisingly didn't look like this, Hallie, because my family would only eat all this crap that we eat in Australia. But there are,
is that right?
Yeah, they would just, in Australia, that even if it's meat, we would like to put sugar on it.
Is that right?
So you have a bit of wombat, you're going to put a bit of sugar. You have a little koala, you're going to put a bit of sugar. You have a puffin, you're going to put a bit of sugar. If you have,
you eat koalas?
Oh, we eat everything in Australia,
Is that
Hallie.
right?
Yeah.
Are they good?
They taste better the more endangered they are.
I wonder if I could feed Lance Labont some koala because he can't have animal protein, but aren't they a marsupial or something?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't think that's an animal.
Yeah, a lot of times, well, if it's a marsupial, a lot of times we'll cook it in their own milk.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's delicious. And so, like a milk dud in Australia, that's just a marsupial.
I love milk duds.
No, but in Australia, that's a pelletized marsupial of any kind that you cook in its own milk.
Oh, so is it protein?
Yeah, I guess it would be.
The milk duds are pure protein there?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
Yep. So yeah, those are some of the things that we eat, but it's really the spirit behind a potluck or a Bring a Bucket is that we're all eating together. We're all fellowshipping together.
Awesome.
And in the case of my family, who I don't really speak to anymore, it was all about coming together and having a giant fight about whatever the heck they...
Well, you know what? Jesus said, leave your family and follow me.
Oh, I did.
And I think you're following that one to a T.
Absolutely.
Wow. Here's a question along these lines. As long as we got you thinking about the keto and paleo and, getting your protein stuff. Gray, I've always been uncomfortable with the Lord's Supper because bread and wine symbolize Jesus, but it's carbs and alcohol. That can't be good for the body, but I hear the Catholics turn carbs and alcohol into pure protein during their Eucharist, which sounds much better, but I mean, it's Catholic for Pete's sake. I just want to know what's the best way to build the body of Christ. Could we try experimenting with transubstantiation at Twin Hills?
No, absolutely not. We're not going to do that.
I don't know if we could at Twin Hills. I
we
got a pretty good
with
communion program.
Yeah.
I think our stuff tastes great.
I mean, transubstantiation, it says trans and sub in it, and I think those are words that we don't really even need to have in our vocabulary.
Oh, really? Sub? Yeah. I loved it. I love a sub. I will go ham on a sub. Is that a bad word? I get down on a sub. I go crazy on a sub.
Right. Anyway,
I'll get a 6-inch sub. I'll get a 12-inch sub.
Hallie, anytime you've mentioned inches today, I've gotten a bit uncomfortable. So here's the thing. I would say, and I have done this, especially in Climax, because a lot of times in Climax Youth Ministry, I'm reminding the teens, look, you all have to think about what you're eating. Whenever I give communion at Climax, it's got a 0 carb loaf that we use now.
Oh, wow.
It is awesome, Halle. And, of course, we don't use wine at Twin Hills. We use a really high-end grape juice.
It's delicious.
It's so good, but there is some sugar content in it.
Yep.
So now I am using basically a no sugar grape juice. And it's just important to remind teens that I'm always reminding them about what they're eating and what their bodies look like. And really just hammering that into them, especially during communion.
I know these kids now, they have some idea that you should just never comment on anyone's body or appearance ever for any reason whatsoever. And it's like, well, I mean, that the next thing you know, if you do that, if you're not allowed to comment on what you see when you're looking at somebody, then the next thing you know, they're going to start walking around naked or something, or wear a skirt so short that their buns are hanging out the back of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There has to be a certain amount of policing going on, but my kids are always like, well, late stage capitalism makes everyone feel so overwhelmed and out of control that now we police each other's language.
Blah, blah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're policing my language by, not letting me try to make disciples of all nations by witnessing to everyone I see, low key. And before we go, I do just want to say that anyone listening, we are in that wonderful time of year at Twin Hills where you are able to dedicate a seat in the auditorium to your family.
We're having a capital campaign right now.
You can get a bronze plaque, a little bronze plaque that kind of looks like a dog tag that will get soldered on, probably by my daughter, to the seat of your choice in the auditorium. Seats, close to the bullpen where Steve sits are going for a pretty penny.
That's true. And Halle, we need to remind everyone that this is a capital campaign that we do every year. We raise $1 million cash, no strings attached, and we call it the Steve Fund. It is a perfect way to raise an amount of money that is only for what Steve decides he needs it for. Because if there's one person that knows what the church needs, it's Steve. He started the church. He runs. He's the genius behind Twin Hills.
It's honestly my favorite thing about fall is that Steve comes back from his reading break where, he goes to his lake house and takes the boat out on the lake.
Awesome.
And he can hear God out there. He goes out and he gets quiet and still.
And it's not that he checks out. We had a leadership meeting the other day, and Steve called in from the back of a jet ski. It was hard to hear him, but it was so great to see him, relaxing but still engaged.
And that wasn't his fault that the call didn't really work. It was the motor was so loud.
Why
on
a jet ski so loud?
I know it was the motor. It wasn't Steve's fault, but
so you can get a seat dedicated. You can put anything you want on that little plaque. You can dedicate it to someone. And I think that was so nice to see that we reached the goal, no problem.
And our auditorium seats are world class.
Oh,
I mean,
they lean back.
They lean back. They recline. They're fully cushioned.
Yep.
The armrests are cushioned.
Made by Lazy Boy.
It is.
Or in our
feels
case,
good.
Praisey Boy.
And we have like a Tempur-Pedic, cushion inside there.
Yeah.
This is like people walk out of our services like, I haven't felt this good in months,
Yeah, and sometimes they can be a little too comfortable, can't they, Halle?
Yeah, I mean, but luckily we don't have too many older members of our congregation.
Yeah.
So, we don't have that many people falling asleep. But, we got vibrators in those chairs so that if we are showing something on the iMeg screens that looks like you're in a roller coaster or whatever, you can kind of make the seats, tip back and, like you're in a Dave and Buster's game or something.
Yeah, and I don't like to use the word vibrate. I just call them small moving chair. A little bit of a movement can happen. And they have great sound built into the seats. Basically it wraps around your ears so you can really hear everything.
They don't have cup holders, but they do have communion holders.
Right.
So it's
and a Bible holder.
Tiny cup holder.
And an iPad for, if you want to look up anything on the Bible. And they're great. And those seats are only in our VIP section and only really available for those who are going to contribute to the capital campaign.
I'm Holly Laurent playing Hallie Labont, and Grey Haas was played by Greg Hess. Follow us and Mega the Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And if you really want to get out of hell free card, support us on Patreon. The link is in the show notes.